Was that a twig snapping? The sound echoed through the silent woods, sending a shiver down my spine. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. The forest seemed to close in around me, every rustle and whisper amplified. My heart hammered against my ribs, each beat louder than the last. It felt like it might burst out of my chest. I was alone, miles deep in the woods. The isolation was palpable, the silence almost deafening. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, eerie shadows that danced in the fading light. The forest transformed into a realm of shadows and whispers. It was stupid to linger so late. I knew better, but the beauty of the sunset had held me captive. Then I saw it, a flicker of movement. My eyes strained to make out the shape in the dim light. A shadow, darker than the surrounding woods, darted behind a towering oak. It moved with an unnatural speed. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced through me. I was not alone. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. I told myself it was just an animal, a deer maybe, or a stray dog, but the way it moved was different. But deep down, a primal instinct screamed otherwise. My gut twisted with a sense of impending danger. This was something different, something sinister. The air grew colder, and the shadows seemed to stretch and reach for me. I didn't wait to find out what it was. The moment I heard that eerie sound, my instincts kicked in. Fear surged through my veins like a jolt of electricity. I turned and ran, my backpack bouncing heavily against my spine. Each step felt like a desperate attempt to escape the unknown terror behind me. Twigs snapped under my feet and my lungs burned with exertion. The forest floor was uneven, making every stride a challenge. But I didn't dare slow down, not with that thing on my trail. The sense of urgency was overwhelming, pushing me to my limits. The woods grew darker, the trees closing in on me like iron bars. It felt as if the forest itself was conspiring against me, making my escape even more difficult. I could hear it behind me, the sound of its pursuit, a guttural rasp that echoed through the silent woods. Each breath it took sent shivers down my spine. It was getting closer. I risked a glance over my shoulder. My heart pounded in my chest like a drum, the fear almost paralyzing. In the fading light, I could just make out a shape, tall, impossibly thin, with long, spidery limbs. It moved with an unnatural grace, almost gliding through the trees. Its eyes, two glowing embers, bored into me. They seemed to pierce through the darkness, locking onto me with an intensity that made my blood run cold. Panic seized me. I pushed myself harder, my legs screaming in protest, but the forest seemed to stretch on forever, a labyrinth of shadows and whispering leaves. I was lost, hopelessly lost. I tripped over a gnarled root, sprawling onto the forest floor. Pain shot through my ankle. I tried to stand, but a sharp, stabbing sensation forced me back down. I was injured. Despair washed over me. I was alone and hunted. The rasping breaths were closer now, accompanied by a low, guttural growl that sent shivers down my spine. It was toying with me. Through the trees, I spotted a light, a faint, flickering glow in the distance. Hope, sudden and fierce, surged through me. A house? A campfire? Maybe, just maybe, I could make it. I scrambled to my feet, ignoring the pain that shot through my ankle. I limped towards the light, my heart pounding with a mixture of hope and terror. Each step was agony, but I pushed on. As I drew closer, the light grew brighter, revealing a small clearing. But the sight that greeted me there was not one of salvation. It was far, far worse. The forest was dense, the trees towering above like silent sentinels. The air was thick with the scent of pine and damp earth. In the center of the clearing, a bonfire blazed merrily, its flames dancing and crackling in the still night air. But it wasn't the fire that chilled me to the bone. The warmth of the flames did nothing to dispel the cold dread that gripped my heart. It was the figures gathered around it. They stood motionless, their faces hidden in the shadows. their presence ominous and foreboding. They were tall and skeletal, their bodies draped in dark, hooded robes. The robes seemed to absorb the light, making them appear as if they were part of the darkness itself. Their eyes, glowing with an eerie internal light, turned to me as one. It was as if they could see into my very soul, their gaze piercing and unrelenting. A collective gasp, like the rustling of dead leaves, swept through the clearing. The sound was both haunting and surreal, sending shivers down my spine. They had been expecting me. Their anticipation was palpable, a silent tension that hung heavy in the air. The creature that had been chasing me emerged from the trees behind me. Its form was shadowy and indistinct, yet its presence was undeniable. It approached the figures, its rasping breath echoing through the clearing, and spoke in a voice that was both ancient and filled with malice. It had delivered me. The hooded figures seemed to acknowledge it, their glowing eyes flickering with a sinister light. I ran as fast as my wounded ankle could take me, the pain excruciating. After what seemed like hours, I finally made it back to civilization. I don't know what they were planning to do, but I've never gone back to the woods alone again.